boy, oh boy. President Obama, the National Prayer Breakfast, first of all, he says, hey, to the Dalai Lama, China is hysterical about this. But perhaps more consequentially, the president, this is actually a really big deal. The president is refusing to legitimize ISIS and Boko Haram and other groups like them, Al-Qaeda, by calling them Muslim. Now, consider that for a moment. These groups are claiming their legitimacy in the name of religion. They're saying, according to the Quran, according to Islamic writing and Islamic scholars, they're saying what we are doing is consistent with Islam. And, over 1 billion Muslims around the world are saying, no, it's not. What's consistent with Islam is, you go to work, you get a paycheck, you raise your family, you raise your kids, you become a good citizen. I mean, just like the same for 1 billion Christians around the world. The same for, I don't know how many Buddhists there are or whatever. And this just makes sense. That to call these terrorists, who are, as the president correctly asserted, members of a death cult, to call them Islamic terrorists is like calling Jim Jones a Christian leader. I mean, yeah, he used Jesus to justify giving Kool-Aid and killing all those people down there in Guyana, but does that, or I guess it changed its name to something after that, or around that time, but that, does that mean that Christianity is all about giving, poisoned Kool-Aid to people? Hitler promoted his genocide of Jews, quoting Martin Luther. Martin Luther, the founder of one of the two major branches of Protestantism, the other being the Church of England, that was founded by King Henry VIII when the Catholic Church would not allow him to get rid of one of his wives. So he said, okay, that's it. I'm going to start my own church. So you've got the Anglican Church, that Protestant church. And then you've got the Reformation Church. Martin Luther, wrote his list of demands and outrages against the Christian church, against the Catholic Church, and nailed it to the door of the church in, I think it was Bayreuth or Kronach. It was one of those towns around there. And Martin Luther said, and I quote, "We are at fault in not avenging all this innocent blood of our Lord, and the blood of the children, Jews, have been shed since then, which still shines forth from their eyes and their skin. We are at fault in not slaying them." Martin Luther calling for killing of the Jews. Because, of course, the Jews killed Jesus, right? Actually, I thought it was the Romans. The Jews did not do crucifixion 2,000 years ago. That was the Romans. But, Martin Luther didn't apparently know that, or if he did, he chose to ignore it. And the Nazis, hey, do we call the Nazis Christian terrorists? I mean, they killed 6 million Jews. I mean, not to mention, gays and communists and Christians. And certainly they went after, minority religion. Well, Judaism, Islam. Or how about the Ku Klux Klan? The Ku Klux Klan is the oldest terrorist group in the United States. It's probably one of the largest. And the Ku Klux Klan will go out of their way to tell you, we're just good Christians. We just want to be around white people, that's all. But we're just good Christians. And yet for a couple hundred years in the United States, they have engaged in serious terroristic activity. So yeah, there are Christian terrorists. They continue to operate in the United States. Eric Rudolph is, one of the more recent, blew up a gay bar blew up the Atlantic Olympics, killed somebody. People shooting abortion doctors. I mean, we have Christian terrorists in the United States. But here's the thing. We tend not to call them Christian terrorists because by doing so, you legitimize their terrorism. In other words, their terrorism has some excuse. It is rooted in some religion. A more appropriate thing to call them is criminals, thugs, killers. And that's what the president is doing. He's saying, I'm not going to dignify Boko Haram and ISIL by calling them Muslim. And people say, oh, yeah, but, it's Muslims who are killing everybody. It's Muslims that they're killing. The vast majority of people who've been killed by ISIS and Boko Haram have been Muslims. They're just not the right Muslims. These are Sunni groups. They're killing Shia. And then they're killing everybody else. But this is not Islamic terrorism. This is terrorism that tries to justify itself in the name of Islam. Maggie Thatcher didn't refer to the IRA as a Catholic terrorist group, even though they tried to kill her. It just boggles my mind. How this and here's so I would say that if you are condemning the president for not referring to ISIS and Boko Haram and other groups like this, Al-Qaeda, as Muslim terrorists, if you're condemning him for that, what you are arguing for is that these groups be recognized as having a legitimate religious basis. In other words, you're doing their work, right? I mean, that's their claim. Hey, it's legitimate. It's in the Bible. It's the KKK claim. Oh, yeah, we can kill black people. That's in the Bible. We can have slaves. It's in the Bible. Keeping in mind that the KKK began when we had slaves in the United States. They began as part of the slave patrol movement in the South. So who are these people who are speaking lovingly on behalf of Boko Haram and ISIS? Well, you got Joe Scarborough. Joe Scar says that what Obama said was, quote, just stupid and dumb, like something drunk uncles sitting around the table would say. Right. Steve Doocy over at Fox, so-called news, he said, Obama essentially said Christians were just as bad as ISIS. No. What he said was terrorists will claim Christianity. Terrorists will claim Islam. They're all terrorists. Let's stop attaching these religious words to them. Gretchen Carlson. Obama wants to bring Christianity into the fight. And then Laura Ingraham. He wants to make clear that the Christians are evil too because he wants Americans to do penance for the past. No, he never said any of that stuff. Come on. Stop doing ISIS's work for them. And why is it that all these people are affiliated, with the exception of Rush Limbaugh, with Fox News? Eric Bolling. Obama won't say Muslim extremism, yet he indicted the whole Christian faith. Eric Erickson. Obama's speech was reeking with contempt for Christianity. The Daily Caller, Obama at National Prayer Breakfast. Well, yeah, Christians are jerks too. No, it's not what he was saying. What he was saying was terrorists invoke the name of whatever religion is convenient for them. We should not allow them to do that.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Alan West, Fox contributor. Obama tried to conflate Christianity with ISIS. No, it's the opposite, you idiots.